Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Frnca's May monthly meeting. Tonight, filmed, as you can see, I'm a little nervous about that, so that we can bring information to those of our members and interested parties in the community who can't be here tonight. So let's get going. Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
President Ron. Absent. President Ron is absent for now, due here shortly. Vince, Vice President.
Here.
Doris, Treasurer. Here. Sandy, Secretary. Here. And Paola, General Member.
Okay. All rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Everyone be seated. We do have a rather long agenda, but we're going to start with Nancy Carney and the school budget presentation. So I'll turn it over to Nancy right now.
Thank you. As I said, I just want to begin by saying thank you very much for inviting us to be here this evening. You do every year, and it's always an opportunity for us to answer your questions and get you more information and present the budget that we'll be presenting to the voters. As you're all aware, May 16th is the vote. It's from 6 a.m. till 9 p.m. in your local catchment area. So most people here would be voting at the Phillips Avenue Elementary School. Okay, so things I'm going to talk about tonight. Just going to review a little some about our program and about our students. Then I'm going to talk about our debt service, our student enrollment, some additions that we're presenting to the voters to add to the budget. Then our expenditure budget, our state aid, and our anticipated revenue. And then we also have a repair reserve proposition that's going to be presented to the voters on the ballot. And then just some important upcoming dates. So just want to begin by sharing with you the Board of Education's financial and operational goals. The board gets together each year and really works on creating goals that they have as they're going forward. And their financial and operational goals are to develop a budget that really maintains our programs, that provides our students with adequate resources, and also a budget that the community can support. They're also very involved in monitoring new legislation and regulations and its impact on the tax cap and the budget development for the 2017-18 school year. As many of you are aware, each year we get different mandates from the state on certain things that we have to implement by state regulation and law, and we are required to follow these and to implement different things that the state requires us to do. Also, to identify and implement any cost efficiencies. It's something that we work really hard to do. And also to assess alternative energies. Many of you may be aware that we've been investing in propane buses as one of our alternative energies, as well as our fuel tanks, having dual systems at both propane and oil. Also, we have been proactively, as I just said, replenishing our school buses once they reach their efficient lifespan. So the tax cap, what does the levy say? What does the law say? That the revenues raised by the district through the property tax or the levy can increase by no more than approximately 2%, or the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, whichever is less, plus several exemptions. And exempt from the tax calculation are capital costs and also some pension costs if they're over 2%. This year, the pension costs are not applicable. Obviously, we do have capital costs. Our budget, many of you are aware, our bond that was passed in 2011 is coming to fruition this year. So we are very excited about all the work that has been done throughout our buildings and on our grounds. But that is coming into play now. So the CPI this year is 1.26%, and once the exemptions are calculated, our property tax cap is 3.77%. And you'll see that is largely due to our debt service. Okay, and then just talking a little about some of our programs. Riverhead as a district, we do have many challenges. We also have many successes and very proud of the programs and opportunities we support that we provide for our students. We're also just constantly looking to improve, and we're very collaborative in our efforts in trying to constantly improve. We do have many students, as you can see, who took AP exams. We had 42 students named AP Scholars, 10 named AP Scholars with Honors, 9 with AP Scholar with Distinction. Our high school students were among 83% of our graduating class are college bound. Our kids earned over $7 million in scholarships. Something we're very thankful and proud of is locally over $770,000 in scholarships were provided for our students. We did have 34% of the class graduating with advanced Regents diplomas. And something else that we're very proud of is all the technology we're integrating into the schools. Robert Hines is our technology director, and he's really very, very innovative, and he's on top of things, being sure that we're constantly upgrading our technology. As you're aware, it can become antiquated very quickly, but we do want to make sure that we provide our students with all the opportunities that they need so that they can use technology as a tool for learning. These iPads here that the kids are using, this is actually in Phillips Avenue, it enables us to individualize instruction for students. So every student works at the level that they're at. So if a teacher is not necessarily, if they're not teaching to the whole class, kids always have time when they have downtime that they can continue their studies using technology. It's very nice to be able to individualize instruction for all students. We also added to our badge system that we have that is going to be in all the schools where for all visitors come in, you get a visitor's badge and a pass, and it's a computerized system to enable us to make sure our schools are secure. This, as many of you are aware, we're very pleased with the support we have for our extracurricular activities. Our NJROTC is regularly gets honors and awards in all their competitions. They do a lot of community service for the districts. We also have a lot of clubs, whether it's peer-to-peer tutoring, community service, charity fundraising, a French club, our robotics club recently won New York State championships and was able to compete in Kentucky nationally. And very proud also of our productions. The Blue Mass put on a wonderful spring musical, Hairspray. It's really a great success. A lot of talent with our kids. Our athletic program, we offer 26 sports programs. We have 64 teams. We have 11 varsity programs that achieved New York State Public High School Athletic Association Scholar Athlete Team, with 75% of the roster having GPA of 90 or above. And we had 204 individual athletes achieve Public High School Athletic Association Individual Scholar Athlete Awards. So we are, as I said, our board is very dedicated to believing that kids need a really well-rounded education in the arts, in athletics, as well as academics. And we are pleased that we're able to provide these opportunities for our kids. And as I said, the bulk of the reason the expenditure is higher this year than is because of the debt service that is kicking in since the bond is coming to fruition. We have debt obligations, as I said, including the capital work, and we also have the turf field and the bus purchases. We're also repaying money that was borrowed under the energy performance contract. Okay, so student enrollment. This is something very important for people to understand. You can see that since 2009, our enrollment has increased by over 600 students. English language learners have increased by 1,012 students, and special ed is up by 281 students. So you can see we're one of the few districts. I think there's only 3 districts on the island that are increasing in enrollment. Most districts are decreasing, so this, of course, has we have added challenges in making sure that we're able to provide services for all the new students coming into the district. Additions to the instructional program, we've been meeting as we do starting in December with all of staff from the buildings to look at and identify areas where we need to strengthen our instructional program. And as I said, this is largely due to increased enrollment and especially ENL and special ed needs. And as I said, we need to make sure that we're providing our students with the support that they need. So academic additions in the budget is currently to add an assistant principal at Aquabog. Aquabog's enrollment significantly increased, and there is a rule of thumb that once you're over 500 students, it's really advisable to have an assistant principal in the building so that you're sure you always have two people in a building to deal with things. A director of fine arts, somebody to really direct and coordinate our program. As we're getting more and more students and our programs are growing, we really need coordination and oversight in that program. Consumer science, we need to add a .2 at the middle school, and that's a .2 position, which is one period, in order to be able to accommodate the number of students that need to take the course. Elementary reading, we need to add one. ENL, you can see, is 4.5 positions. Math is one at the high school. PE is one. And as I said, as we get more students, obviously you have more sections that you need to provide. Science is 1.0 at the middle school, a .5 social worker at Aquabog, 2 special ed, and 1 technology at the high school and middle school. Positions designated to be determined will be finalized once we get a little closer to the start of the school year based on enrollment. So the total proposed expenditure, as you can see in general support, it's $13,297,121, and that's a 2.14% change over last year. Instruction and administration is $77,247,958, which is a 2.89% increase. Our transportation is $6,388,234, which is a 1.26% increase. And benefit and debt service, you can see that's the greatest percentage increase for our expenditures, which is up to $39,445,234, which is an 8.79% increase. So you can see the 3-part budget, which we are required to present. The program is the largest portion of your budget, which is 75%, and then our capital is 17%, and administration is 8%. So state aid. Here you can see the percent change in our state aid. We did well with state aid this year. Our foundation aid, you can see, is up by 12.19%. Our BOCES aid is up 15.63%. Our high cost excess aid, which is for special ed services, is up 92.43%. Our private excess cost is down a little, and that is for students who need private schooling for certain things, certain disabilities that they have. Hardware and technology, you can see, is up 8.69%, and this is in order to keep pace, as I mentioned before. Software, library, textbooks is down just a little bit. Our transportation, you can see, is up 8.10%. Our charter school tuition is down a little bit, and that's due to the number of years kids stay in the charter school. You get aid based on how many years a child is in the school. It lessens the longer a child is in the charter school. Our high tax aid, you can see, remains the same, and then our building aid is down a little bit right now, but once everything is completed, that will be kicking in. Once all the projects are closed and everything is submitted to the state, then you start getting your building aid, and that will start increasing significantly. So you can see we have an additional $2,744,606 in state aid. Okay, so here's our anticipated revenue. You can see the property tax levy, as I said, was 3.77%. Our state aid, we had that increase of over 10%. Appropriated fund balance and other reserves is down 28.58%, and that's due to the fact that last year we had to take more money from our reserves in order to be able to sustain our program based on the tax levy cap last year. So we want to be sure that we're not taking that same amount of money again. You want to keep your reserves funded at a good level so you don't end up in fiscal distress. Our pilots, payment in lieu of taxes, you can see is up about 32%, a little over 32%. Tuitions, and these are tuitions to other schools, remain the same. Reimbursements and refunds and interest donations all remain the same. So you can see our revenue obviously matches our expenditures at 4.38%, with the levy being 3.77. The levy is within the New York State property tax cap for the Riverhead School District. So as I said, we also have a proposition, and that's, as you know, we've been creating repair reserves. It's one of the things and commitments and one of the directions we have from the Board of Education was to be sure we're not in a position where our buildings are in disarray again and we'd ever need to go out for another bond for that. So we're maintaining, very important, and all the things that for people who were around back in 2011, when we put together the community team, we created a $78 million bond by really reducing a lot of things and tried to create a bond of things that were just absolutely necessary. So obviously, in order to keep things in shape and to deal with things that do continually need to be repaired, we're asking again to create the repair reserve, and that even though it's up to a certain amount of money, it's 7.5, you can only put in it what you have at the end of the year. It's like a savings account. In case things do fall in disrepair, you have money. Each time any repair needs to be done, it's brought to the Board of Education for approval. This is just highlights of things that we have done with the repair reserve in the past. You can see at each building we're able, a lot of it has to do with infrastructure, but we are able to do the things that need to be done by using this savings account. Once again, these are still highlights of the repair reserve from 2015. The other was 2011. And this is the resolution. May the district establish the 2017 repair reserve, a maximum of $7.5 million in the fund. Unallocated fund balance and unspent money from the 2011 and 15 shall first fund it. So we'd roll over any money left over in there to create this new reserve, and then each year try to put a little bit of money into it to make sure that we have money anytime it's needed for repairs. And then we ask you to please vote. It's the most important thing, participation. And as I said, voting is May 16th, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Voting will take place in the catchment area where your child would go to school as an elementary student. And at this time, I'm happy to take questions. Yes. 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 Yes, we do, sir. That was done through the capital project that we had, the bond that was passed, and that was the turf field and the removal of the existing bus garage, the buildings and grounds building, and the renovation of Edwards Avenue. That renovation is underway. And it's planning, we're planning on being able to open September 1st of next year. Once the bus operation is moved over there, then the bus garage here will be demolished. No, I don't think it's truthfully that there's a cost savings. What is nice over there is it being removed from the main campus. It's a wonderful facility. It's a beautiful spot for the buses. The garages are going to be a really nice place for our mechanics to work. The operation is really going to cost, it costs what it costs as far as the buses transporting kids. The routes are the routes. We're always looking to make routes more efficient. As I said, we've been upgrading our buses to many that are propane buses, looking for cost savings all the time. But it's not, moving doesn't necessarily save money. Yes. Hi, how are you tonight?
Really, I barely have a voice. We agree we have well-rounded children. We have a lot of programs offered in Riverhead School District. I know my children attend there between sports and after-school curriculums. And we have a lot of talented children, as well as teachers and administrators. Unfortunately, these extracurriculum programs are the ones that first to be threatened to go first if the budget's voted down. As I sat here tonight, I looked around this room, and I think, maybe by a show of hands, am I the only person here with a child in the Riverhead School District? No one's here. So the problem you're seeing in this area, and what I'm hearing over and over, is from senior citizens, Mr. Iacone, many others, that just cannot, we never see an end to the amount of money that keeps being asked from the taxpayer. You know, I don't know how wealthy people are over in Riverhead, but I can tell you, this is a poor district. We are land rich, and we don't have a lot of tax base. I'm sorry. You know, we just keep saying yes and yes and passing the bond in fear from my child's not going to have baseball, or she's not going to have track, or you know, drama. But I can't keep doing this and asking these people to pay for my child any longer. They're astronomical, the amounts every year that just keeps increasing. They've all got tax assessments reassessed this year. They're all down here for another meeting in reference to these taxes. And I have to tell you, my taxes are about a little over $8,200. $6,200 of that goes to Riverhead School District, over $6,200. It's exorbitant. It's too much for us. And we don't, not one year are we promised anything, or it seems like when the meetings that I go to and are not nearly enough at the school board, I just sit there and listen. Okay, we want, I'll take one, $23,000. I just saw Mr. Meyer, so I remembered that one meeting, that there was a mistake in the turf field going down. The turf field was already down, and then they realized you needed a cooling system. Okay, vote. Okay, another $28,000. Just like that, at the blink of an eye. We can't afford it anymore. You're driving these people, you know, out of what they can afford. They just can't afford it. You know, and I don't want to say no, but I don't want to say yes either, and make people continue to pay this amount. And, you know, we see you know, you told us all about the honors, the AP testing and stuff. We still have a low, not that great of a graduation rate. I think we're at 75 or 76%. That's not great for the amount of money that we keep pouring into this district. I know the special education is low on the graduation rate. This is not, when is it going to be enough? That's our question.
It's a very fair question, and there's no good answers other than one of the things we constantly advocate for is additional state aid. Because we are land rich, our combined wealth ratio is 1.4%. That's considered a upper above average district in wealth according to the state. And we get less state aid than almost all of our neighboring districts. And it is something we've been advocating for. We did get some additional state aid, and that is largely due to our increased enrollment. State aid is based on enrollment, but we're faced with many challenges that many districts are not faced with. And one of those is the increased enrollment. As many of you are aware, at the high school level, we've had 100 new students almost every year for the past 3 years. And many of these students are coming into the high school with very little formal education. So it does, yes, affect the graduation rate greatly. We're putting a lot of resources and effort into trying to help these students be successful. And I said there are a lot of state mandates, but we do have a lot of challenges. And I don't have easy answers for you. I understand. All we can do is present a budget that we feel is going to maintain what we need to do for our students. And as I said, we do, and the board, and I've been very involved as well in advocating for additional state aid. And it's something we have to keep doing as a community and as a district. But I understand. I wish education was funded differently. Yes, sir.
I don't need that. I can
Okay.
speak loud enough so that everybody can hear me in the back. My name is Carl Iacone, and I've lived in this area. I don't need it. Oh, okay, for the camera. My name is Carl Iacone, and I've lived in Flanders for 25 years. I feel we are the cash cow in this situation with the Riverhead school issue. And I'm getting a little sick and tired of hearing people say, well, we can't do anything about it. You have to do what you have to do. I don't think so. Get out there. This year especially, when they're telling us we're getting a raise in our tax assessment. That means we're going up not only in the tax assessment, but we're going up in a school district where we can't really afford it. Yes, I am a senior citizen, and I'm on a budget. You're not pushing me out. You're forcing me out here. I like it here, but I can't stay if you people are going to put tax on top of tax on top of tax. Let's get this thing started. And when it comes time to voting for this budget, vote it down. We did it 1 year, and they came back the second time with it, and it was passed because they said, your students are going to lose on this. They're going to lose this. They're going to lose that. Well, let's see. Let's give them the chance and see if we're going to lose all this. It's about time we put our feet down and say that enough is enough. And I'm one for saying it. Enough is enough.
Thank you, sir.
Along with what they're saying, a lot of the problem is that our seniors are being pushed out of their homes because of the taxes going up. We have people coming in from other towns that are now buying the houses and renting them out to multifamilies. And this is a lot of the problem because we don't have one family that has 2 kids coming out of a house. Now we have one house that has 5, 6, 7, I saw 10 kids come out of a house. This is the problem, and it's a problem with the town. It's not your problem. It's a problem with the town that needs to get on these houses. Another question that I have, can you tell me who Shay is? Yeah. Can you, before on the way here, someone told me that he just got a $40,000 raise. Do you know what it was?
No, but it's not true, and we don't talk about individual people, I guarantee you.
Okay. There's just a question. Somebody said something to me on the way here. Okay. Just a question that I had. Okay. Thank you. Oh, one other thing. What is EN something? Now, last year you hired 4.5. Now this year they're hiring another 4.5?
We're not even in compliance with all of our buildings, with the services that our students are providing.
And that comes back to another problem with the overcrowded houses, that they're paying property tax for a single-family house, and we have 4 and 5. One of the houses on my block just put up a wall where the dining room was so they could fit another family in the dining room. And that's a lot of problem that we have. This is something we need to confront with the town, because code enforcement needs to get to these houses and deal with it. And the town needs to stop slapping them on the wrist and do something. And I'm not blaming the people, it's the landlords. Because the landlord knows he can put more people in these houses, and the town's not doing anything. The lady next door to me filled up the house the day she bought it, and she was in court for 4 years. Finally, when they got done with her, they slapped her on the wrist, gave her a slight fine. She ended up walking away from the house because I was not giving up. We had people out there. There was 20-something guys living in the basement. So this is a town problem. It's affecting our taxes, but it's a town problem that now we need to confront. Thank you.
As you said, and you know, our job and what is to educate children. Every child that comes through the door, that's our charge, that's our passion, that's what we're educated to do, and it's what we try to do to the best of our ability for every single child that comes through our doors.
Thank you. My question is really related to the Phillips Avenue School in particular. I'm sure we all remember that last year the test scores were not all that good. In fact, they were pretty horrible, which tells me that those kids need far more investment than they're getting. So I'm not really complaining about the amount of increase in taxes that I'm paying, but I want to know that it's actually making a difference in those kids' lives, and I don't see it in the test scores. So if you could tell me, what is the approach financially to address the failure of the school? I know it's on that list, which they have a nice term for it, a watch school, focus school, even neater. And I wanted to thank Susan for reminding us all how old we are.
I think the first thing I need to say right now is our schools are not failing, and I invite all of you to come into our classrooms and to see the incredible learning that is going on. Something you do have to realize, and something that's changing, but as with any bureaucracy, change is very slow. One of the issues is students are tested with one test. When they're in the country in math, they only have to be here one day, and they're given a math exam. Our English language learners, after 1 year, they're given the exam in English. So these exams are very difficult for English language learners, and even many of our students with disabilities, to score very high on, because if you look at the types of questions, they're all things like most likely, least likely, questions that aren't just cut and dry, where you can, you know, have a simple answer to it, and understanding, because you want people to have higher order thinking skills and really look. But when you don't know the language or you have a disability, it's very, very challenging for those students to be proficient on these exams. And it is something that the state has recognized, and they're going to be changing by 2018. But in the meantime, and rightfully so, they're going to be giving kids that are English language learners have to actually test out that they've learned the language sufficiently to be able to take the exam, which is a good thing. And in special education, it's going to be based on developmental level, which once again is a good thing. So I'm not saying we don't constantly need improvement, and we do, and this focus review has actually been very valuable to us, being in the classroom, really looking at data and seeing how we can really target and help each individual child. But I just say to you, be careful when you look at those numbers, because as we do have, you know, close to 40% of students not taking the exams, those students' scores are not even included in the reports that come out. And I'm not making excuses, I'm just telling you the facts. So absolutely, it's just one form of looking at data, but it's something that has to be looked at carefully. And I really our teachers work so hard with our kids, and as I said, if you go into our classrooms and you see the learning that's going on, and you look at the progress that happens from the beginning of a year to an end of a year, there's a lot of really great things happening in the classrooms. Yes, ma'am. I'm getting old, but not
100 years ago, they had what were called settlement houses. People that didn't speak English went there to learn how to speak English. Is there a way to enlist the community to help these people that don't speak English or English is their second language improve their skills so that when they get to school, if the child understands English and the parent doesn't, you failed already because can't do homework together, because then the child has to be the parent and do the teaching, and that doesn't work too well either. But I do remember my grandparents talking about settlement houses, and maybe there's a way you can find something similar now.
You know, obviously, it's always school community partnerships are the best thing to do. There's no easy answers. As I said, to a lot of the issues we're being faced with, we are actually starting a parent university, hoping to try to provide opportunities for parents to come in. There are opportunities for people to learn the language, to go. There are places in the community. The challenge, as always, is many folks are working around the clock, and it's difficult. People, as you were saying as well, people are just working to make ends meet, to provide for their families. So there's a lot of challenges, but these are things that the community, people here, the town, the schools together need to look for ways and solutions as we go forward.
Hi, I work at transportation department, and it's not just with our department, but I feel with every school and every department in the school, as we've had a large increase of administration. We have to pay all these extra people that work in the buildings and in the office that is our taxes. Transportation alone in 2 years went from 5 employees in the office to 9. I don't understand that concept, why you feel to increase that amount of people in one department. If that's in transportation itself, I'm sure it happened in other departments in the school.
Actually, we've had very little increase in administrators in the buildings. We've had one principal and one assistant principal in Riley, in Phillips, in Pulaski, in the middle school for years and years and years. We've had the same amount of administrators at the high school, at central office. We have the same amount of administrators, so it's really not the case. At the bus garage, I know they did split a position into 2 positions, so that it would they feel it's working very well, and so that it would run more efficiently. As I said, we've added and you have to realize it's almost a whole school has been added to the district, and you do need to be sure that you have people in charge and people who are responsible for all the things that happen in the district. So our administrative costs are really a small part of the budget, and I disagree that I don't think that they've been increasing greatly at all. Okay, thank you all very, very much. Really appreciate the invitation. Oh, sorry.
I don't know if this is more of a question or a statement, but under student enrollment trends, it says it went up from 2010 to 2017 by 604 students, and out of those 604 students, almost half of them, 281, are either receiving 504 plans or IEPs under the special education department.
That's out of the total increase altogether. So we have, from 2010, some of those students could be kids that were already here. Okay, in 2010 till now, we've had an additional 281 students who are now classified as special education students. We have an additional 1,000 students who are now classified as E&L students.
And just before you leave, I'd like to, on behalf of my board and our members, thank you for your many years of hard work at the school district. I know you're retiring, I think it's this year, right? August. So congratulations. We will miss you very, very much. Thank you.
All right, so sorry that I'm a little bit late, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'm sure Vince welcomed everyone, and I hope we did the pledge. We did the pledge. All right. So we're going to turn it over now to the school board candidates. We have 5 candidates running in this election cycle for 3 seats. 2 are incumbents. 3, they are not incumbents. So we're going to go with ballot position. So that's chosen at random at the school district office. So the first candidate on the ballot is going to start us off. So if you'll come on up and introduce yourself. Yes. And we're going to just ask that you use the mic because we are filming tonight.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Christopher Dorr. I am an incumbent. I've been on the school board for the last 4 years. I live in Calverton. I have 2 children currently in the district in 8th grade, boy-girl twins, and then I have a 2013 graduate of Riverhead. Our district is wonderful. We have so many good things going on. Our robotics club, I know you just saw in the budget presentation, went out and competed in the world competitions in just the 2nd year in its organization. Our Latin club, our Latin classes, always perform at the highest level at our Stony Brook competitions yearly. And our arts program is second to none. Our graduates go on to some of the best colleges in the country. Cornell, Brown, the best in the country. I point out these highlights because way too often we only hear about the negatives. We have a lot to be proud of in Riverhead, and we should embrace that. I know we talked about the reserve. You probably talked about the reserves, the use of the reserve funds in the budget presentation. It is good for us because I remember not too long ago, before the bond came through and before our buildings look as nice as they do now, they were in disrepair. There was a lot of complaints, and we just didn't have the money to fix them. But now, through smart budgeting, we're putting these reserves so when things break down, we don't put a Band-Aid on them. We fix them, and so it doesn't turn into a larger problem at the end. I feel some people may forget that all 7 members of the school board pay taxes in the district. So when the budget goes up, we feel it just like you do. And sometimes it is a burden to us too. But I think if you see how well our students are prepared to go on to their future life, I think that the increases are worth it. Riverhead is one of the few districts whose population is increasing. According to New York State School Board or report card, Riverhead has increased 303 students from 2012 to 2016. I know that's a little different than the numbers before, but these were report card numbers. Our neighbors, Shore and Wading River, decreased by 211 students. Mattituck, 164. West Hampton, 53. Many of these students that are coming into our district do not speak English or are special ed, and they deserve to be educated the same as everybody else. And we need to absorb those costs. We can do our part by making sure that we put a budget out that's under the tax cap and is fiscally responsible, but we would like you to help us. Contact your state and federal representative and tell them that the districts that are being affected by the high non-English speaking need more aid. I know a lot of them think that it's not a state problem because it's not affecting every district across the state, but it is affecting ours. We need to let them know. I believe in this election it's very important for the voters to choose candidates that place the kids first. I am lucky enough to be running as a team with Greg Meyer and Therese Zuhowski, and we all think that the students cooperation, kindness is the way to go, and I think we're the candidates that the Riverhead District needs. All right? Vote for positions 1, 3, and 5, and Riverhead will thrive.
All right, if we can have the candidate in position number 2, I believe that's you, Yolanda. All right, so Yolanda is running, I believe, for the first time for school board. All right.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good? Good. Well, again, my name is Yolanda Thompson, and my husband and I, we've been living in the beautiful town of Riverhead for 16 years now. I have 2 children in the district. One is going to be a senior next year. I'm sorry. One is going to be a senior next year. One is going into the middle school in September. And both of them have special needs. And as a result of that, I have a good working relationship with our school nurses and with all of their teachers. To give you a little more background about myself, I have a 20-year career in finance, banking, and accounting. I have a certificate in finance and banking. And I believe my financial background will enable me to be a good steward of the taxpayer monies, as well as the district's fiduciary obligations. If I am elected to the board, I will work to bring more transparency and simplified answers to the public regarding fiscal matters and budget transactions, because a lot of it is confusing. I'm also a special education advocate. I've attended Rights Law training, which covers the federal laws and the rights of students to a free and appropriate education. I've also attended training in mediation and to be parent member of a Committee on Special Education meetings, and that was given by the New York State Education Department. This background enables me to be able to speak and understand the language of education. And this is very important because the board is responsible for setting educational policies and for making sure that the district is in compliance and in alignment with the state's standards. And as a result of being an advocate, I must also be able to resolve disputes, bringing the parents and the school to work together in the best interest of the student. And I believe that these skills will enable me to work cooperatively and respectfully with the rest of the board members, especially when complex and challenging issues arise. Also, for the past 3 years, I have been an education activist. I've participated in various protests against the high-stakes testing. I traveled to Albany and I met with legislators on the Education Committee, and I spoke out against harmful education reforms such as reductions to foundation aid and the GEA. I also spoke at the task force hearings that the governor put together across the state, and I spoke against the developmentally inappropriate Common Core learning standards, the curriculum, the state testing, data mining, the teacher and principal annual professional performance reviews, which are tied to the test scores, and also the loss of the local diploma, which was replaced with a CDOS, a certificate. These harmful reforms have diminished the voices of teachers and parents and have caused the most harm to our children, particularly our most vulnerable learners, our students with disabilities, our economically disadvantaged students, and our English language learners. So why have I spent my own personal time and resources doing all of this? Well, it's because I believe in the importance and the value of a quality public education, and that's why I want to serve on our Board of Education. I have a proven track record of regularly attending board meetings, and I strongly encourage parents and the public to please come and attend the board meetings and please come and participate and ask questions. I was successful in getting an email address whereby the public, anyone from the public, can email the board directly and ask some questions. I was also able to work with the district in putting together a public forum so that parents could come and discuss and ask questions about the Common Core standards, which was, as we all know, was a big change in education, and that came down through the states. But I will also continue to advocate for everyone. The taxpayers, parents, our students, teachers, teaching assistants, bus drivers, custodians, all of our workers. I have no personal agenda. My only goal is to improve education for all of our students and to foster better communication and engagement between our schools and our hardworking community. So I ask you on May 16th to please vote for me, ballot number 2, and I will work for all of you. Thank you. Should I can give it to her? Okay.
Yes. So this is Frnca. She's running for
Hello, everyone. Yes, Therese Zuhosky. So I just want to first thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself. I'm seeing some of you for the first time. I am a native Long Islander, and I've lived in Riverhead for the past 15 years. Hello. By education, I am a social worker. I have a master's in social work, clinical studies. By profession, my career has been in human resources, but the reality of my life is I'm a mom of 4 amazing boys that are students in the high school, 4 in the high school, and 1 is at Pulaski Street in 6th grade, so he'll be moving into middle school. Since having children, I've been at home for 18 years with my 4 children. I've been involved in the schools and active in the PTO since my oldest son started school here 14 years ago. Currently, I hold the board position of president for Pulaski Street School, Riverhead Middle School, and the Riverhead High School PTO and PTSO. I'm also a member of the PTO Executive Council and the Safety and Health Committee. As I run for a position on the Board of Education, I look for a greater role in affecting change and making the best of Riverhead education, not only for my own children, but all the children in our district. Riverhead is a very proud and supportive town, and togetherness has been a strong and consistent reaction from our community to families in our community. My vision is to bridge a gap, and create a greater sense of belonging and camaraderie between the town and schools. I propose to open communication and encourage more minimal cost activities for all to participate. And additionally, I believe that kids need to be kids. Although not every student excels in the areas of academics, music and theater, athletics, each student should be given the opportunity to find their passion and be who they are. At any level, on all levels, self-confidence and dignity are most important. Children need encouragement to tap into their potential and talents and to follow their dreams. And I know, as Mr. Dorr mentioned, both him, Greg Meyer, and myself truly support this. I am extremely proud to be part of a team that stands together on this issue and continues to strive to make Riverhead thrive. So thank you again for the opportunity. My name again is Therese Zuhosky, position number 3, and please vote 1, 3, and 5 to make Riverhead thrive on May 16th. Thank you.
All right, Greg, if you want to come up. Greg Fisher is also running for school board, in position number 4.
Thank you. It's good to see you again. Last year, I ran for Senate, and this year I'm running for school board. What do they have in common? Senator LaValle is highly endorsed by the teachers' unions. And what do I have? What am I running against this year? I'm running against the teachers' union again. 3 of the candidates that are running as a team came out of the teachers' union. They were endorsed by the teachers' union without screening the other candidates. So the teachers' union is happy with the performance of the incumbents, so they endorse them again. I don't know that anybody else is happy with their performance. You're correct in the quality. You're correct on the cost. The costs are set to double in the next 15 years. So those that are purchasing the newer assessed houses, the newer construction, what do you think they're going to be worth in 15 years when the taxes double? Well, with those houses with 10 kids coming out of them now, what are those landlords going to have to charge in 15 years, or how many kids are going to have to come out then? So there's a lot of money being left on the table. Every time I've run for school board, and this is the 4th time, I've said, let's get a grant writer for the district because they'd be more sensitive to the district's needs. We could pull a lot of money in. The library has a grant writer. Why can't we get a grant writer and pull some more money into this district? That's just one thing. But I also did some audits by Freedom of Information requests as an outsider. not on the school board, so I'm not part of the administration, so I can't do it as an insider. So I've been able to get some contractors busted. And I got about a dozen more on deck, but one of them that got busted in the school district, and the district's been nice enough to bust all the other related companies coming out of the same address. It's charging us about 20–25% more than we should pay using illegal labor through subcontractors that aren't approved, getting no big contracts that should be for open bid. So how come nobody on the school board could find that? Isn't that interesting? So that's one problem. But we have, and that's a really bad problem. If the taxes do double out here, it's going to be like a wasteland out here. It's going to have cascading blight. So you have to get rid of and go out of your way to get rid of the people who are getting installed. Those three, that little team. So I would ask you to throw away your third vote. Vote for the people coming in from the outside. Otherwise, it's not going to change. You're going to vote for corruption again. Now, under Executive Law 55, it says, I hope that's not me. It might be. Nope, thank God. We're all the same ring. Funny. So Executive Law 55, because I brought up this corruption issue year after year, and a couple years ago, a guy that used to be on the Riverhead School Board that's now on BOCES said I was delusional. That's before I had these vendors kicked out, but I was delusional. So they tried to get out of a lawsuit in Southern District. We're doing it in Manhattan because we can't even do it out here because it's so bad and everybody knows everybody. So the lawsuit's in Southern District in Manhattan, and BOCES tried to get out, but the judge pulled them back in, which is good for us. So maybe I'm not delusional. Maybe they're just crooked. So we're trying to change things. Now, what else? They don't seem to be doing any real research into what they can do to improve the graduation rates, and that's really bad. Now, the teachers are good. The teachers are great. If there was a bad teacher, they cut their head off right away, they'd be out the door. I'm not kidding. That's what they do in this district. So the teachers are good. What's bad, and fatally bad, is the school district rating. Now, that's the fault of the administration, and more so the fault of the school board, because they oversee the administration. They're not supposed to get pats on the back from that administration. They're supposed to oversee them. Now, some of them are conflicted. They have relatives as teachers, et cetera. They're conflicted. People on the school board, they have to go. If you're conflicted at all, you have to go. I think one of them works for BOCES. Has to go. So, the rating, what does that do to your value? It destroys it. See, I brought up last year the difference between Bayshore and Riverhead. Now, Bayshore is rated 64 in the state. Before going focus status, Riverhead was rated 246. Before that, before getting dropped, 246. Now, you know, focus means sooner or later the state's going to come in and kick out the administrators and run it. But what does that mean? It means that people move out of lesser rated school districts and into higher rated school districts. What does that do to your property value? Send your thank you note to the school board. It drops it, right? Some people will say they're having a good time doing this job. If they're having a good time doing this job, they're doing the wrong job. This is a very difficult job. This is the most important job. This is more important even than town board, because this has more to do with your property values and your future, your biggest nest egg, your home. So your property value drops. That's not all of it. If this district is, even though the teachers are great and the kids are great, you know, people are getting good grades, they don't talk about the cops being at some of the schools almost every day, but that's another story. So, everything's great. So the next thing is, an A from Riverhead Central School District is not as highly rated as an A from West Hampton Beach, or Syosset, or Great Neck. Not as highly rated. So two kids applying to Harvard with an A, who gets in? The kid from a higher rated school district. So that affects that kid for the rest of their life, what school they're going to get into. Send your thank you note to the school board. Okay? So that kid won't have the same opportunity because they didn't take charge of the low rating. Now what else happens? They need a scholarship because we're a poor town. Well, if they're not getting in, they're not getting the scholarship. And then if they do get in, they're not getting the scholarship compared to the other town. Thank the school board. So when are we going to stop thanking those candidates and re-electing them? So my background is 35 years in serious business consulting. 3D resin business, I'm selling the same thing. I've been selling every year for the last 4 years when I've come before you folks, and thank you for, the numbers are going up. That's why I'm still doing this. The day the numbers go down, I'm out. But I'm hoping you'll make my numbers go back up again. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, make sure your spouses and kids over 18 come out to vote. Because I'm doing this to fight for you. Really. I'm doing this because it's important. It's really important. My kids didn't want to move out of this district, and I could have moved them. Okay, so I'm here. I'm going to fight. It's just that simple. And I've been completely straight with you tonight. I have not prepared this. It's off the cuff. It's not the same speech I gave 10 minutes ago over at the high school. So I really mean this. I meant it last year when I ran for Senate about what I was going to attack. I mean it this year. We have a big mess. That's in the middle of the Trump cuts coming to Long Island. That's in the middle of more outsourcing than ever. That's in the middle of the disaster in the American economy. We got to turn the ship locally, county, state, federal. But this is the part I'm attacking now, and I need your help, and I need your vote. And it's Greg Fisher. Thank you very much.
All right, we have one more candidate, Mr. Meyer. If you'll finish us off, thank you.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Greg Meyer. I am in my 3rd term for the Riverhead School Board. That'll be my 9th year. I'm seeking re-election for my 4th term. It'll be my 11th, 12th, 10th, 11th, and 12th year I'm looking for. I truly enjoy what I've been doing. My kids have gone through the system. They've graduated years ago. Very proud of the education and the programs and the possibilities they were given here at Riverhead. I'm just going to go off script here. There's some issues I want to address, and I think the best way is to say it like this. As I was leaving my house tonight on my way here, I mentioned to my wife about Mr. Iacone. I said, I really hope he's here tonight because I really do enjoy coming here every time. He sits in the same seat in the front row, and he's here because he truly cares about the area. And every time I've come, this is now my 4th time, it's the same thing. We only see every 3 years, and you know what? I apologize for that. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Every year you guys do get some school board candidates here, whoever's terms are up or whoever's looking to seek an election. Some of the things I've heard tonight is, it bothers me because we all pay taxes. We're all fighting to put food on the table. And some of the info I'd like to ask that maybe you guys as an association bring the school back so it's not just this one time every year where we come to see you guys. I know that it's easy for me to say, oh, you got questions, come on out to the school board meeting. You know what, now it's my 9th year, obviously that's not working. So there's a lot of things we need to clear up because what's going on is I can see things that happened last year, it's building up. It's building up a year, and there's truth to some of the things you're saying, but there's also, I could easily sit down and say, well, we're doing this or we're doing that because of this and because of that. So what's happening is, through this whole year, as the same with everything, that is me, everybody's you're getting good information, you're getting bad information. Listen, the only way to do that is, please invite us back. I'm not going to say come to our meeting. That's not working. I want to come back to your meeting. I'll stay here all night if you want to. We can. There's always spin coffee here. I'm sure there still is. If not, I'll run out to 7-Eleven. I'll get some. But there's some really serious things that we need to talk about. I'm not saying everything you guys are saying is wrong. I think that I could probably clear the air with some of it. Not that it makes it right, but I think that's important. And like I said, as I'm sitting here and I'm listening to this, the last thing I want to do is bring politics into a school district. We do not need politics in a school district. What we need to do is we need to step back, and I'm going to step back. I'm at fault, 9 years. We got to start building up the trust. when I first came on, there was a lot of changes that I did facilitate with some of the other board members to start building trust at certain levels. I've always loved coming here. There's always a packed house. The place we were just at over at the high school, we had 3 people. So as I'm pulling in the parking lot, I'm like, yes, Flanders is coming out, Riverside, Northampton, the whole communities, it's a great thing. So I'm just, like I said, I went off my whole speech. I don't think that's important. I've been working my tail off for the school district. For too many years, I've been hearing from the outside that Riverhead stinks. Oh, that's a horrible school district. That's why I'm still here. That's why my kids went through the school district. That's why I'm still looking to seek re-election, because I truly believe that we've made some great strides, but we still have a lot still left to do. And I totally get that. We're not perfect, but we do work hard. There's no politics involved with anything. We listen. From here on out, our lines of communication, our trust will, I promise you, I can give you that, will increase. I can't say everything that I'll say you're going to like, which will be the same everything you're going to say I might not like too. But as adults, we can clear the air with a lot of things. Let me know what you're thinking. I'll let you know what I'm thinking. We'll sit down. We can clear that out. Please, the most important thing, though, out of all of this, meeting the candidates, blah, 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 please go out and vote for the budget. It is so important for us as a school district, for the ones that are putting the budget together, to have people come out. Whether you want to vote yes or you want to vote no, that's your prerogative. I'm not here to sway you anyway. Yes would be nice. But it is a way for us as a school district to say, hey, we have this many votes came in. Yes, this many votes came in no. The budget failed. The budget passed. It's the only way, it's the only numbers that are written down that we can get any feedback from. So please, out of everything you're hearing tonight, go out and vote. Get your neighbor, get your friends, family, everything. Vote yes, vote no. That's your prerogative. But please show up and vote. The second part of this is the reserve fund. It is so important when, I think Ms. Iacone might have mentioned it earlier, we first came out with the construction bond years back. It was $123 million. That was shot down. We went back to the drawing table for 78. The one thing we got out of that was the community telling us, well, you know what, we were kind of mad that, you know, all of this money is going towards roofs and all of this is going towards this. We listened. We started a repair reserve fund. That has helped us dramatically on doing a lot of projects that weren't a part of the bond. So please, think of that as a savings account. You're sitting in your backyard, you look up at your roof, oh wow, looks like the roof's going to need to replace in the next 7 to 8 years. What do we all do? Take a few dollars in each paycheck, as tight as things could be, you put it in the side. That's really all the repair reserve fund is for. It's helped us dramatically. We've gotten some great things done. Lucky enough, we tied some of it with some of the contractors that were already there working. We were able to get a lot of things done at a great price. Third thing, please vote for the 3 of us, okay? We work great together. The school board that is there now, we do not yes each other, okay? But what we do, I see Lori smiling in the back, we will argue about things. We will come to an agreement that's best for the kids. And that is the number one thing that we're here about, is the kids. So please remember that. Vote row 1 for Chris Dorr, row 3 for Therese Zuhosky, row 5 for me. I am the better Greg on the ballot. Okay, that's just how I feel. I'm at row 5. So please, 1, 3, and 5, after you vote yes for the budget and the repair reserve, and Riverhead will continue to thrive with all of our help, trust, and communication. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming from the school board. We appreciate it. Feel free to stick around. I'm sure people will want to chat a little bit afterwards. We do have one more guest here tonight. This is Lisa Gorey, the town of Southampton tax assessor. So several people in Bayview Pines and Water's Edge and Flanders as a whole received letters that the assessed value of their properties went up. Lisa's going to explain what that means, how that happened, and then take us through the grievance process if you are unsatisfied with that explanation. So Ms. Gorey, if you'd like to come on up, we welcome you. I've also asked Ms. Gorey to talk a little bit about the pilot payments, how they're calculated, and how what payments we'll be receiving on some of the New York Rising houses. Would you like to stand up or sit down?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Lisa Gorey, and I am the assessor for the town of Southampton. Some of you may even know me, have spoken to me over the phone, or have come into the office over the past couple of years. But I am essentially here tonight to explain the grievance process. I'll just get that out of the way because I know you probably have lots of questions for me. I have brought some grievance applications here with me tonight. Grievance Day is May 16th. It's going to be held at St. Rosalie's in Hampton Bays. We start about 9 a.m. and we run until 8 p.m. in the evening. We do take lunch breaks and dinner breaks, but we work right through it. We don't stop. I also have fact sheet information here that explains how to file your grievance. You can either do it in person in our office on or before grievance day. You can submit your application to the office over the counter. You can mail it in, and we also try to make it convenient enough so that you can now do it online. We've been doing it online for about 3 years now. You just go to the town's website, click on the assessor's webpage, and the instructions are right there on how to file your grievance application. We provide the tentative assessment roll. We provide interactive sales maps so you can plug in your address and see if any sales have occurred in your area, whether or not those sales are comparable to your properties, and you could submit those comparables at grievance. We only want to, well, I have a 5-member grievance board. I don't review the grievance applications myself. They're done by the grievance board, but they like to see at least 3 comparables in order to consider a reduction in your property assessments. Questions? Okay. We assess both the land and the structures, any improvements on your property and the land. Now, I think it's important for me to say that when I say you can file a grievance, the grievance has to be filed against your assessment. I have nothing to do with the property taxes. I am charged with fairly and accurately assessing your property. The districts that are in the town of Southampton, the town district, county districts, fire, ambulance, school, those all make up your taxes. I am charged with the assessments. So some of you may have received increased notices this year, and the increased notices that you received say that your assessment is probably going up. In all likelihood, that does not mean that your taxes are going to go up in correlation with your assessment. If all things remain the same, if your assessment increases and the budgets remain the same as they were last year, your taxes may not increase. They may remain the same, or they could possibly go down. It depends on what the budgets are for those districts. If the districts continuously increase their budgets and our assessments also increase, then your taxes are likely to increase. A property that can be considered similar to yours is if you're in a subdivision and the houses were built around the same time, same square footage, same amenities such as pool, tennis court, swimming pools. Oh, okay. Same size lots. Okay. All right. Well, that's what well, comparable means a property that is similar to yours. Okay. Similar to yours. Same age, same square footage, same home style, same lot size, in the same neighborhood. That's what I mean by a comparable property.
I know there's a lot of companies out there that I will read for you. If you use one of those companies, do you have a better chance of winning the grievance?
No.
Is it a better chance of filling out the paperwork yourself?
You have a better chance of filling out the paperwork and bringing it in yourself. The companies, and I'm going to be honest, there are lots of companies out there that say they can do this for you and save half of your taxes. I don't want to discredit those companies because that's not my job. That's not my place. You can file a grievance on your own. It's a 4-page application. What the tax agencies do, they file your grievance application. Sometimes they submit no additional documentation, and if my board does not see additional documentation with that application, what are they going to base a reduction on? So you're probably not going to get a reduction on your grievance application. So they're going to be sent a denial letter. With that denial letter, they can then go on to small claims court. That's judicial intervention. They go on to small claims court, which is heard in the Supreme Court by a hearing officer and a representative from my office that's going to try to defend our values. At that time, once it gets to the Supreme Court level, your representative may then have some type of documentation to support their claim to get you a reduction. That's when, if they're successful in getting your reduction, that's when they charge you half of what they saved you. Now, again, not to knock the reduction companies, but say the issue all along is that we've been over-assessing you because your home is 1,500 square feet and we have it listed at 1,800 square feet. The tax representative may know that, but we don't know it because it was never brought to our attention. They're not going to tell us because they want to file for you again next year. If you have issues with your assessment, my door is always open. I always encourage people to come into my office, sit down, speak with me, let me know what the issues are. We do reassessing every year in the town of Southampton on a mass appraisal basis. It's not individual house-to-house appraising. So your condition may be something different from his. Maybe you're right next door to each other. You have wetlands. He doesn't. We don't know that unless you come in and bring it to my attention. That's something that I can address. And someone else had another question? Yes. You in the back. It's for the entire town of Southampton. We've been doing annual reassessments since 2004. We do annual reassessments. This area may have seen a larger increase this year than in the past because we're noticing now that sales are starting to pick up on the western part of the town of Southampton. Yes, in the back. Who picks what houses? We look at the sales. We look to see where the sales are occurring. Not if you individually didn't sell your house. In your neighborhood, in the surrounding areas in your neighborhood, are there houses selling? It depends. We have 52 neighborhoods in the town of Southampton, so it depends. It's not really done by a particular radius. It depends. It all varies. And this gentleman had a question. Sales. We strictly assess based on sales. They could have a different assessment than yours because, well, a different taxable assessment because they may have adjustments on their assessment due to topography on their property, shape size on their property. Okay, they could have adjustments for. We give adjustments for traffic, external influences. That's something, you could bring that to the attention of my office. I would look at your assessment compared to their assessment and see where see where it's at. You in the blue back there, right? This young lady right here. We don't look at those sales that the state brought out. They're not considered arm's length transactions. No, we don't consider those sales. And let me, you.
Thank you. No. Well, I got to show. I'm not throwing shares or anything. I just want you to know. See these pockets? They're empty. Do you want me to go down to my socks now to pull money out to pay for this?
I don't want you to do that.
I mean, you're putting it on us, the town. I shouldn't say you individually. The town is reassessing us. We're in for a speed on the board. Not the board, but the school budget. Where are we going to get this money? I just told you. I got socks on right now. Do you want my socks? Get out there, people, and vote that budget down because they're killing us. These people are really killing us. Everybody's killing us. I don't say her individually, but all in all. Let me stick my money back in my pockets, which I don't have any of. Let me tell you something. It's getting worse and worse. You're saying that you want people to stay here. Well, you're forcing us right out the back door, and I don't appreciate it, and that's why I'm getting up to speak my mind out. I haven't for a while. I've been very dominant. What are you laughing at? I've been very dormant. But I'm going to get out there and I'm going to say, turn the budget down. I'm sorry, Maya.
That's okay, sir.
I'm sorry, Maya.
That's okay.
But that's the way I feel. I'm tired of being a cash cow, and I refuse to be intimidated by the board and the town of Southampton that has come out now and inflicted. I don't understand it. I've been paying 100% value on this house for the longest time. Now you come out and tell me $25,000 more. Are you people crazy or what? I don't understand it. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. But I've got to say it. I'm going to put up a fight this time. Whichever way I can do it. If I have to go to the Supreme Court, I'm going to go to the Supreme Court. Thank you. Yeah. All right, Paul.
Yes. With the wetland, if you have wetlands on your property, that means you have restricted area on your property that you cannot use. If your wetlands has been flagged by the town of Southampton and you want to know whether or not we are taking that into account, you should contact my office because we make an adjustment on your land assessment for wetlands. And, yep, as well for the Pine Barrens. Oh, I'm sorry, that's me. I was wondering what that noise was. I'm sorry, yes. Yes.
I'm Pauline Sandman.
Yes, yep.
A lot of the homes in our park are being sold very low. And you know what they're sold for, right? You get that information. Say some of them for $5,000. And then there is a company that's buying them up and renovating them. So you know it's sold for $5,000, but in the meantime, they're putting siding, they're gutting the whole house. So actually, the assessment is
I'm gonna be honest with you. We don't necessarily get the sales information for mobile homes because it's not required by New York State. They're not recorded with Suffolk County, so we don't get the certificates of title for the homes. We only get notified from the park owners when they actually sell. Yeah, we don't get the title reports. It's not on the Suffolk County deed recording website, so we don't have that information. We're only notified when the mobile home sells from the park owners. We don't get them. We have to request them. They're not automatically sent to my office unless we ask the park owners. You fax them to who?
Nobody can hear you at home. You got to use the mic. I'm sorry.
I live in Riverwoods and I work part-time in the office, so I'm wearing two hats. But every sale that is made has a bill of sale, and I fax every bill of sale to the town of Southampton tax office. So
You've got to use the mic or they cannot hear you at home. So let's get it over there.
I know your office has the bill of sale, and they also know how much a house was sold for. Yeah. Well, I was just there the other day. I spoke to Pat Thursday. I was in the office.
To the county, right. I will.
Thank you, Pauline. We realize that.
And Pauline, I was asked to bring applications for you to take back to Riverwoods, exemption applications. Do you know anything about that? Did Pat mention that? To give to the owners at the park because they're not being given to the tenants or something? Okay. Give it to you? Okay. I don't know. I was just asked to bring them to, and they were supposed to go to Riverwoods. Okay. Yes.
So I had two questions. What's the turnaround time? When do you find out if your grievance was won?
Grievance day is May 16th.
No. Okay. We're ignoring the mics. Judgment call.
Okay.
If we're going to hear what we can hear. Thanks, guys.
Turnaround time is July 1st.
July 1st, okay, so in the summer. Also, another thing, you mentioned adjustments. Where do you see those adjustments? Like, does it say, like, normal assessed value of your house, let's say $300,000, and then a $50,000 adjustment for wetlands? Like, how do I actually see what adjustments have been made to my property value? Like, on a busy road, adjustment, $20,000, wetlands adjustment, like, because I can never see that.
You would have to contact my office and see if we have it on your property inventory. We have property record cards. If you were to contact my office and ask for a copy of your property record card, you would see.
Like noise, and how do you value something like like wetlands or unusable parcel?
We have sales analysis that is done to see what that actual impact would be, see what the effect is on a property that has sold that has those type of influences. It's done by appraisers.
Thank you. So basically, I have to call your office and get some sort of card to find out what adjustments have been made on my property.
Yeah, you can just call my office and say, am I getting a traffic adjustment? I live right on, right in front of Flanders Road. It's a heavy traffic area. Am I receiving any type of adjustment?
it's just kind of crazy. I don't mind getting the card, and that's great that I could get the card, but it's just crazy that that information isn't on my tax bill.
Yeah, it's a little more. This is the first time I've been hearing of this. Thank you.
Charge you more for it.
With the pool.
Can we have the number to your office?
My number is, I'll give you my direct number. My direct number is 702-2460. 702-2460 is my direct number. If I am not available for any reason, the office number is 283-6020. And any of the people there that answer 6020. Anyone there can answer any questions about the assessment exemptions. My name is Lisa Goree. Goree.
And she's very good.
I have a question, Lisa.
Thank you for being brave enough to come.
My question is, you're saying you get adjustment from your property if you're in a noisy area. What about if you're in an area where maybe it doesn't look so great, like abandoned property in back of you or whatever? Do you get any adjustment for that?
That would be considered an external influence, something that influences your property from the outside, and yes, we do offer adjustments for that. If you have a dilapidated house and you think that it has an effect on you having the ability to sell your house at market value, yes, it could have an impact on your assessment. We have adjustments for traffic, noise, commercial properties.
Barking dogs.
White dogs. That's noisy. That bark all day.
That's security.
Can you talk about some more adjustments?
Yeah.
Some more adjustments that your office offers?
We have land adjustments, we have shape size adjustments. If your house is not in, say you're in your neighborhood, all the houses are all the properties are perfect rectangle shape sizes, and your house, your property is a triangle size, oddly shaped in everyone. Then we have adjustments for that. We have adjustments for topography if you have issues with water runoff. We have, oh goodness, I said the commercial, the traffic.
Everyone you mentioned, I
basically,
have. I'm going to be talking to you tomorrow.
That's why I said, give my office a call, because there may be something, that is, it's a problem on your property, but it may not be a problem with, the rest of the properties in your area. That's a new one.
That adds value.
That's a special.
Yes.
Gentleman with the Southampton Press, we've spoken. I kind of have a question on the opposite side of the spectrum. Say that you live next to a property that's a New York Rising property, and it's going to be cleared for, going back to the natural state. Would that mean that your neighboring property might go up in valuation?
We would have to actually look and see if that would be the case. If we have properties that now start selling in that area because now that property that once had a house on it that was destroyed by Hurricane Sandy is now a beautiful open preserve area. If the houses or properties in that area are now selling at a 5 or 10% higher market rate, then yeah, it actually could have an impact on an upward impact on the property. And with the New York Rising properties, I know you had asked me to speak a little bit about that, because the town has recently now purchased some of those properties that were previously owned by New York State, and they are on our CPF list. So even though those properties have now come off the tax rolls, the school district is now being reimbursed for those properties coming off the tax rolls through CPF. So the taxpayers don't have to actually make up that difference because those houses are no longer on the roll. The school districts are being compensated for it.
By filing agreements, you run a risk of
increasing your?
No, we cannot increase your taxes because you file a grievance, no. Yes.
Clarify what you're talking about, the New York rising sales.
Right.
You said those houses were purchased by New York Rising pre-Sandy prices, meaning that if the house value was 400,000 before Sandy was 500, they were sold to New York Rising for 500. Does that affect as far as a comp situation?
Well, like
Meaning
I
that it
said,
was sold at a higher rate?
we can't use those properties in our analysis because they're not considered arm's length. Government sales, municipality purchases, we can't consider those sales.
Thank you.
Yes.
You talk about assessment of the property. Now, what if the house looks nasty and the front lawn, there's no lawn, and it's really a mess? But the house is overcrowded because the landlord doesn't live in town and they have 4 or 5 families in the house. Is there any way to assess this? Because this is a lot of the problem in this area, is that a lot of the houses are overcrowded, and it's the landlords that are doing it. And they even, I noticed last week, they built a wall to make another room out of the dining room to move in another family. Now, I understand it's a code enforcement, but I don't seem to be getting anywhere through them. So is it could it be an assessment that they can go out there that there's numerous families in the house?
We don't usually make any kind of adjustments for properties, just because the house is overcrowded. We are sometimes notified by code enforcement that that house that was once a single-family residence is now a 2 or 3 family residence. We can change the assessment or change the property classification, but we usually don't make, just because the house is overcrowded.
Yeah, we have one on our block that they made the dormer into a second family house, so now it's a 2-family.
If they take that house and say it was an attached garage at one time and now they change it into living area, then yeah, I'm boosting up the assessment because you're changing that from something that wasn't. Your assessment is based on the living area of the house. So if you're changing something that was non-living area and now it is living area, I can then change the assessment based on that.
But if it goes from a 1-family house, so it's totally separated. When you walked in the door, you went in here, and this went to the downstairs, and then it went upstairs, and there was a dormer on there. Now there's a door here, and there's a door upstairs. There's a door so you have to go through, but it's separate. There's separate family living upstairs.
That's just illegal.
Yeah,
That's just illegal, okay?
I wouldn't necessarily know all of it. I wouldn't necessarily know all of that information. Code enforcement's going to tell me it's no longer 1 family, it's 3 families.
Another question. If you had 1 bathroom in your house and you added a second one, would that be considered more money?
Yes. Yes,
So
we
not
assess the
living-
we assess the number of plumbing fixtures. Well, bedrooms, bathrooms, they're all considered, they all go into your assessment.
Show them your pockets.
Yes.
I have a quick question regarding the planning department and really the planning board of the town. Because I know a lot of the developments go through the planning board, all the restrictions are placed at the planning board, and then the developer builds the house and sells it to somebody. They don't really know necessarily all the ins and outs of the restrictions. Do they ever come to you? Does the planning board tell you, we've restricted this property so that you can see those restrictions and we don't have to go and point them out?
Well, once the property sells, and just say for instance it's a subdivision that has covenants and restrictions, once the property sells, we get a copy of the deed. So the restrictions are going to be right in the deed. So usually we do have an idea beforehand. The homeowner really doesn't have to come in and tell us. If it's on the deed or if it's on the survey and we have it in our office, we can make the adjustment without the homeowner even having to come in. They don't necessarily have to bring it to our attention. Sometimes we already know. But if we don't know, and if we don't have it, if we haven't gotten a survey from from the building or the planning department indicating the wetlands, then yeah, you should bring it to our attention.
How do you, my question is it the renting house on the owner house, is it, you base that onto a renting space than the owner? Is it different or is it the same? Is it a flat rate for everybody?
It doesn't matter whether or not the property owner lives in the house or if they're renting the house. The assessment is based on what's on the property. We don't assess based on who's living there.
I just got it.
Okay. Yeah.
Question in the back.
Sheds under 120 square feet and decks will increase your assessment?
If they're considered improvements to the property, they're a permanent fixture, yes.
House flippers, that buy low, fix it up, sell high. Does that affect your assessed value of your neighborhood?
Yeah. Yes.
Because, they said it doesn't
Sales
decide,
prices
but it all
affect your
stuff.
value. Sales prices do affect your value. If it's something that's happening in your neighborhood quite often, then it's going to affect your property. Someone can come into a neighborhood and buy a house and overpay for it just because they want to. One sale does not affect all of the assessments. But if it's happening on a continuous basis and we're seeing a pattern of it, then yeah, it's going to affect the assessment.
I just had a question about, if you live in a blighted area, is there a chance to lower it, or is that pretty much you're blighted and your taxes are low?
It all depends on because we reassess on market value. It depends on what the market is showing us. If the market's showing that the sales are low, then and we're high, then we have to reduce the assessment based on what the analysis is showing us.
Thank you.
Yep. Yes.
Do you know what percentage in Flanders, Riverside, and Northampton the reassessment went up, and what percentage went down, and what stayed the same? Do you have that information?
Not off the top of my head, no, I don't, but I can certainly get it for you. I'm speculating that the assessments probably went up between 10 and 15%.
Yeah.
Maybe some areas more.
Is that townwide, or are you talking about this area?
Just, I think he asked me about Flanders, yeah, probably just Flanders.
20%.
Yes.
Is there a way for you to increase the number of neighborhoods to make it more granular, smaller pieces, so that it's fairer to everybody when there is spot redevelopment, but it doesn't affect that whole larger neighborhood?
Well, yeah, that's something that we're always looking at. Like I mentioned, we have 52 neighborhoods in the town of Southampton, but within those neighborhoods, we also have sub-neighborhoods. Yep. Okay? Thank you.
So we do have grievance applications here and some more information, so there's plenty here for everybody. So I encourage you to grieve your property taxes. Like Lisa said, I was looking over the application, it's 4 pages, the information is pretty straightforward, and grievance day is next Tuesday, the same day as the school budget vote, so make sure you go vote, then grieve your taxes. So get it all done in one day. We did have an agenda for tonight. It's getting pretty late. I do want to talk quickly, though, about the Food Truck Festival and some of the other things going on around. The Flanders Northampton Volunteer Ambulance is doing a clothing and a book drive. So if you have clothes that are usable and books, they are collecting them. It's a fundraiser, so they can actually sell them by the weight. So it's a great time to get rid of those books. You can bring them over to the ambulance barn. Books and clothing and shoes. Yeah. So you can bring that to the ambulance. Okay. That's going on for the whole month. So they're collecting them on a rolling basis all month. The Food Truck Festival is on. It's growing. It's getting exciting. So for anybody that doesn't know, that's May 19th through the 21st. It is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I invite everybody to come out Friday night. That is the night we have the most amount of trucks so far with the greatest variety. We are asking for a $5 suggested donation. That's going to come to Frnca. There will be some tickets and reductions available. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Pastor Keith and the Truth Community Church for the generous use of the property. Pretty much without restriction. So he's been an incredible partner, and Riverside Rediscovered, but specifically Angela and Ceres. When you come to the Food Truck Festival, Angela is the reason there are toilets, and so we want to thank her for that. She is also the reason there are a lot of toilets, so Angela is very persistent. I want to thank you for all your hard work. We had a great team that was working on this. This wasn't brought together by one person. It was a phenomenal team of people working together to put on an event in our community that we could be proud of, that we could enjoy, and it's growing and growing. So Paola negotiated a great deal with a radio station to come out Friday night, broadcast live. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I encourage you to come more than once. Yes, Mr. Lewis.
Do you have to have license to set up a stand or anything like
You
that?
do. You have to have permits through the county. So we have a blanket permit to. We've got a Southampton special event permit that we got from the town, and they waived the fee for us because we're a nonprofit. So when you see anybody at the town, I want you to thank them. And then we do have a blanket permit with the county. And each time a food truck signs on, I've got to send that paperwork over to the county to get them added on to this blanket permit. They also have to have their own permit. So I can't just stand there with a grill and some barbecue. You got to be licensed through the county. Can't do it, Millie. We thought about it. All right.
So you have to have your own permit, and you have a blank permit.
Yes. Sure. So following the Food Truck Festival, a couple weeks later, Pastor Keith has Hope Day that he's hosting. You may remember this from last year. It's a partnership among several local churches that is a day to give services to the community. So they have groceries, they had restaurants, there were haircuts, there were photo booths, there was a unicorn. There was a lot of fun stuff last year, and I know this year is shaping up to be as good, if not better. So Pastor Keith, for anybody who doesn't know him, is over there. He's got flyers for Hope Day. He's looking for volunteers, participants. We've got great sponsorship opportunities. So if you want to get involved with any of these events, by all means, let us know. We've got great teams, but we're always looking for more help.
When is Hope Day?
Hope Day is Saturday, June 3rd.
She had her hand up first.
Yeah,
Do they have flyers for the food truck too?
We don't have flyers. Well, hold on. Series, do we have flyers for the Food Truck Festival? Not yet. Okay, so we will have, and Riverside Rediscovered has graciously offered to go door to door and help do some outreach for that as well. We are still looking for food trucks too. If anybody knows anybody with a food truck, we're accepting more vendors. We're expecting a lot of people, so we want to make sure that there's enough trucks and variety to serve everyone.
Who do they contact?
They contact me if they're interested. And my number is available. Okay. But that quick. I'll whisper in a minute. Okay. Millie, you had a question? Or Susan?
No, it's off.
Okay,
So
so
when you're done, I just want to make
sure, we have a couple more things. So earlier this year, and actually into last year, we had talked about repurposing that rest area on Flanders Road. This was when we were looking to get rid of those garbage cans. So you remember the garbage cans are gone. It's a lot nicer of a drive. But we found out today, and I can announce this?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so we found out today that the Suffolk County Parks Commissioner has allowed us to repurpose it to a text rest area in the name and memory of Susan Touchy's sister, Barbara Touchy. No one has done more in the town of Southampton, potentially Suffolk County, than Susan Touchy, with outreach and education about the dangers of texting and driving. So I think this is an absolutely fitting memorial. I think it's terrible that, unfortunately, you lost your sister, but I think what you've done in her memory with Barbara's acts of kindness and the education about not texting and driving and the dangers, I think this is going to be a wonderful reminder. And there's going to be a sign on either side of Flanders Road designating this as a text stop in memory of Barbara.
Legislator Bridget Clement worked very hard on pushing this through, and then I dropped the ball a little bit on it. Ron did pick it up 2 days ago, and in a day, got it pushed what they needed through, and I want to thank you both very much for following through.
It's our pleasure, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Legislator Fleming, who
Yeah, she was
obviously
very
facilitated
instrumental,
this
yeah.
and made it happen for our community. It was something that's very important to us.
I think I heard that, are you donating the signs? Is there signs being donated by your sign shop?
Yes, you heard that. That is, yes. You're very welcome. It always helps move things at the county level if there's no cost.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Okay, just very quickly, I want everyone to know that We are trying to resurrect the Flanders Village Historic Society. As you know, it existed for quite a while without accomplishing as much as a historic society could. It started with the Blue Barn, and the Blue Barn looks pretty much the way it did way back when. We have an enormous amount of wonderful information on the history of this whole area, thanks in part to Gary Cobb and others who did a whole lot of research. But it's time to start doing some work to get the building restored, get it into the tour system. People can see the duck, they can see an exhibit at the Victorian barn, and hopefully the Blue Barn soon might even be a gallery of artists with some, more interesting stuff to do when you come to Flanders in its historic buildings. And we have several other buildings that are in critical shape, some of which will come into the town's inventory that we need to start planning for. So if we're going to have a reorganizational meeting very soon. If anyone is interested, please contact me. Go through the website, Frnca.org, and just hit contact us, info@frnca.org. It comes to me anyway, and then I will let you all know when we're meeting and talking about how to take this on and move forward soon.
Nice. Thank you.
Sorry, there's always just a little bit more. So we've got 2 minutes. Sandy has graciously volunteered, and Mr. Dacus and Doris as well, to head up our membership subcommittee. So if anybody wants to help them get new members, I'm sure they need help. So what we're going to be doing is we did a calendar raffle for the month of April. We got a lot of people's names and addresses. We are going to send them discounted dues and try to encourage them to join Frnca. So Sandy is going to be heading that up. The Dacuses have graciously offered to help. This is a tedious process with a lot of filling out of envelopes. So if you want to help them, by all means, let Sandy know, and we'll give you a stack of names and addresses. I appreciate Kathy Krull, who sorted them by people who are eligible to join Frnca and those who aren't. So she knew every street, and she got rid of all the ones that don't live here. So thank you, Kathy. Kathy didn't really volunteer. I just dumped them in her mailbox and then said, wouldn't it be nice if you did this for us? And she agreed. Is there anything else I'm forgetting before we wrap it up? Oh, we've got a 50-50, and Millie's got something.
How did the last month's drawings go?
Oh, so we did a calendar raffle. I'm not sure if everybody was aware, but for $10, you bought one of these tickets, and we have them for sale for the ambulance. This has nothing to do with Frnca, but if you're interested in participating again. So the way this works is for $10, you get a chance every day to win the amount of money that is the prize for the day. So we did it for Frnca, and we raised over $2,300. Wow. So it worked out really well. And that was in part thanks to fantastic salespeople. Again, Kathy Krull, Babs, Patty Hopkins, Christine Kendrick. It was 5 people that really sold over 400 of these things. So I want to thank everybody that purchased them, and really want to thank the people that sold them. That was fantastic. Yes.
Marty, I know the deadline for the applications for the
Scholarship.
Hey, did we get a...
We got 7 scholarship applications. Some have won in the past. Some are college students at the community college. We sent them to the Riverhead Guidance Office. We sent them to the Suffolk Community College. And then we posted them on our website and our Facebook page. So we did get 7 people that applied, which is exciting because the Education Subcommittee worked really hard on the 5K, and we have over $6,000 to divide up. Yeah. So the board is going to do that along with the Education Subcommittee and have those decisions made by Friday. That's when we have to let Riverhead School know.
Patty got it out to the Catholic schools.
And Patty shared it with the Catholic high schools. So we did a lot of outreach. Look for our website to be changing in the near future. We hired someone to help us out with that. So we're going to make that a little more interactive and a little bit more live. And we're going to have minutes up. We've got an arrangement with Certain Media, who's going to be filming us, and has agreed to put that on our website. So I want to thank you as well, Charles. I believe
use the mic more.
I need you.
We need a second mic.
We need a second mic, Charles.
So I'll enforce it, but I need a second one.
Yeah. Angela, you have something?
CDs, I'll make announcements.
Yeah.
You go.
Oh, I'll get them. I will talk real fast.
Sing out, Louis.
Tomorrow, Town Hall at 1 p.m. I encourage everybody to come out and support that we get the $14,000 to do the sewer study to connect to Riverhead. So it's tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Town Hall. Also tomorrow, we will be doing starting our 11th session for the 2 to 5-year-olds, the CME class. So if you have a 2 or 5-year-old, you haven't called us yet, give us a call. Let us know that you want to bring your child down or your grandchild down. 5 to 6 p.m. tomorrow. Our office, 108 Peconic Avenue. Phone number 631. 591-3926. Our meetup this month will be on May 23rd, Tuesday. Yeah, 6:30 at Saratoga. And just want to echo the Food Truck Festival, May 19th, 20th, 21st, over at Truth Community Church, and Hope Day on June 3rd. Thanks.
All right, before we pull the 50-50 ticket, Carl, do you want to buy tickets? This is a good way to get some money in those pockets.
Gotta pay those taxes.
Gotta pay those taxes, Carl.
no money.
You got no money, all right.
Take socks.
Does anybody else want to buy a 50-50 ticket before we pull a winner? All right, Babs.
It's a fine line, too.
All right, pull out your blue tickets. We're going to pick a winner.
Anyway.
You got 'em there? Nine zero one 939. 901-939 for the winner.
Bingo. No, that's another game. It's bad.
Is it Babs? Did you win? Congratulations, Babs. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I hope you'll patronize the Food Truck Festival. I hope you'll get in touch with Pastor Keith about how you can help with Hope Day. And we'll see you next month at our meeting. Thank you.
Pastor
And the
Keith.
grievance